Peace to all the family that's out there tuning in. Peace to all the family that's out there tuning in. If you're watching this video on the replay, you can simply fast forward to about 2 minutes into the stream to find a relevant portion. Just give me a couple seconds, everybody. We getting ready to get started. I am starting to have a lot of friends here. If you tuned in right now, you know, come back in about 45 seconds. You can sit tight, of course, but you can also come back in about 45 seconds if you like. I'm trying to do the bulk of these invites in the beginning. What's going on, fam? What's good, boy? Young, what's good? All right, we got a couple people in here. We're gonna wait for a few more people to get in the building. Wait for a few more people to get in the building, and then we're gonna get started. I know him. How you doing? I know him. I thought about you the other day. I asked about you. All right. Antoinette, what's up? Happy belated birthday, Antoinette. Check it out. Everybody's comments and questions are welcome. Those are things that are going to make the live stream more robust, more stimulating. This doesn't have to be a one-way conversation. I'm prepared for it to be, but it doesn't have to be that way. All right. I'm choosing to communicate via social media because that's the day and age that we live in. It's 2020 now. And this is one of the ways that you have to present yourself. People say, who are you? Okay, that's who you are. Do you have a business card? Okay, fine. Do you have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube? Okay, what do you have on those sites? All right, like I've said in previous lives before, what have you been contributing on social media? Are you people looking at what you contributing on social media? Are people interacting with you on social media? So that's why it's important, and I invite everybody to say what they want to say, comment, ask questions, because that helps out the discussion. We're going to get straight to it tonight. I'm not going to do no beating around the bush. For people that don't know, beating around the bush means procrastinating from getting straight to the point. I'm definitely getting ready to get straight to the point. I just want to make sure that people have enough time to decide to tune in. Give me a couple more seconds. I'm going to send out a few more invites. And then we're just going to get straight into the information, because the playback value here is going to be real. So give me 1 second. Yeah, so it's a lot that people could be doing tonight. I appreciate it if you tuned in to hear what I'm saying, because the mission will continue. We're in a new year, which goes without saying, but consistency is key. How you doing, Miss Arita? Consistency is key. There's absolutely no reason for me to start this and not continue this. So that's why we're doing this yet again. And this is going to continue all through the year. There's going to be a whole series. It's going to be a whole series of lives. And I'm going to really line out what is it that I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? What is it that I'm trying to contribute? What is it that I'm going to contribute to the community? Like I said, I'm going to get straight to it, but I just want to make sure that I give people the right of refusal by providing an invite. Give me 1 more minute, and then we're going to get straight into the information. Seminar soundtrack coming soon. All right, let me tell y'all something. First of all, shout out to Starlet. Shout out to Miss Arita. Shout out to my mom. Let me see who else needs a shout out. Shout out to my guy Derek Montgomery. Shout out to my Uncle Andre. Shout out to my Uncle Tremaine. Shout out to my Uncle Man. Shout out to my great grandma. Shout out to my cousin Kevin. Shout out to my sister Ebony. Shout out to my sister De'Ara. Shout out to my sister Chastity, my sister Sierra. Shout out to my little brother Lamar, who can't be here for this live stream right now because he's behind bars. Shout out to my family in Wyoming. Jessica Hernandez, you tuned in tonight. I appreciate that. You all the way out there in Wyoming tuning in to see what your cousin is saying. Okay. The purpose of this live stream tonight is to talk about what is it that I'm presenting to you that's different from what everybody else is presenting to you. All right? And that's this. Everybody is a combination of a mother and father, which creates an aura, which is you. And when people are born, they don't learn nothing about their own aura and they abandon it. I call it the biometric spectrum. And by abandoning your own biometric spectrum, you end up being in a fleshly position. You end up doing things that serve your flesh. And when the game is all about flesh, you end up in a patriarchy that you can never win. See, because the patriarchy does not belong to me in society. The patriarchy does not even belong to you in society. The patriarchy belongs to people who are much more powerful than you and I. So when you're growing up and you're looking at the world around you, it seems like a big world out there. It seems like you have so much to learn. You have so many places to go, and you can never learn it all. You can never go everywhere. So then the question becomes, can you ever really be as big as you are inside your own mind? You participate in school. You learn histories that don't necessarily belong to you. You learn science that doesn't necessarily belong to you. And at the end of the day, you end up with a picture where you're not at the top of the totem pole. But the fact is, when you look at existence itself, you're always at the top of the totem pole. You're the product of the people that created you. You're the last version. Until you have children, that's the next version. But see, everybody that ever struggled, went through struggle, survived struggle is the people that created us. Is the people that created you and I. So that's why it's so important to take time out to respect the people that help you along the way. Respect the people who are in generations that produced your generation. Because these people they're walking history books. They're walking lessons. They deserve respect that many people will go and pass on to the next realm without ever giving the respect that they deserve. Our people are awesome. Our people are amazing. Our people are interesting. I want to start it off with those few words tonight. This is a mental workout. It's going to be a lot more to come. But the things that I'm sharing tonight is going to be vital, and it's going to be very important. This is what we're not talking about. This is what we're not discussing in school. This is what so many of our leaders don't ever touch on. That needs to be touched on. This is what so many of our leaders haven't touched on that I'm going to touch on. This is what I'm going to be talking about. Seminar Soundtrack is coming soon. Seminar Soundtrack is a product that I provide to agencies, large, high volume agencies, that they can play for their clients, their youth, their adolescents, their constituency, to motivate them and to open their eyes about the way that they see life. It's a lot of lessons jam-packed in a musical setting, and that you can use, so that I don't have to be in all across the country at one time. You don't have to watch me. You can play Seminar Soundtrack for your clients, and you can provide value that way. It's gonna be available soon, rolling out on my sales funnel, and my landing page is motivatefosterkids.com. So give me a second. I'm gonna get right to it. Like I said, if you have a comment or a question, I would really appreciate it tonight. All right. Let's use blue. All right. Now this here is the world itself. I like it if it was more people tuned in right now. If you know somebody that might be interested in what I'm talking about, they might know me, they might know you. Tell them to tune in, because chances are they're not operating according to this paradigm that I'm getting ready to share. This line here, it represents what you hear. This also represents like your spine, your spinal cord. All right. So I'm gonna put H for here, right here. Okay. This line here represents what you see. All right. Can y'all see this? All right. This line represents what you hear. This line represents what you see. Now, all of your ancestors, your family is coming up through this area here. Let's say that this is this your mother. This star right here, and this is your father. This star right here. When they come together, they produce you. And this is you. Okay? Now, when you're born, this is the world. So we throw some buildings out here. I don't know what kind of buildings these are, but you know. All right. These are the buildings out here. This is the world. This is you. Okay? And we're going to put the 0 here. We're going to put the 100 here. Like people say, you go from 0 to 100. Like people say, you go from 0 to 100. This is you. This is all your frequencies. But now when you're born, you start walking around like this. Now you go through life as this person here. If nobody talks to you about the capacity in which you were born, this is what I call the biometric spectrum right here. Nobody talks to you about the biometric spectrum that's connected to you. Then what happens is that this biometric spectrum is manipulated, influenced all throughout your life. And until you gain control of this biometric spectrum, then your future is at the behest of whatever happens in your life. Okay? Now, what does this aura feel like? If you could feel your aura, and this is when people say, I'm feeling high off life. And it's usually an experience that you have that enables you to feel high off life. But you can feel high off life simply because you exist. Particularly when you're healthy, when your mind is clear, and when you have what people call a clear conscience. You can feel this aura and it feels great. And that when people say, I'm feeling high off life, this is what they're talking about. The fact that they can feel this aura. Okay? But people who don't have enough effective conversations, and people who don't have enough people providing imagery. That's why I brought out the dry erase board today, so that we can use imagery, because imagery and symbols, it communicates more than words can communicate. If I'm losing anybody, just drop me a line in the comment box. But inside of this aura here developed based off of all of the neurotic and electromagnetic connections that you had to make in order to develop from an embryo into a baby, which was amazing and which was outstanding. The fact that you became a nucleus of energy that manifested into a human being is miraculous. It's downright miraculous. So when you're born, you're very sensitive to this aura, but as the world raises you and does not talk to you about this biometric spectrum, you become increasingly insensitive, which is perfect for the matriarchy that we live in. Because what the world needs you to do is to think less of yourself, which is what happens when you're just this here without understanding this here. What the world needs you to do is take damage on your person and keep on moving, like they say. Take a licking and keep on ticking. That's what the world needs you to do. The world needs you. It's funny when you look at it in these terms, because there's a force field around you that if you know it's there, you can be making it charge. You can be making it stronger. You can be charging it up. You can be paying attention to it. You can be thanking God for it. You can be thanking your family for it. You can be saying things that resonate with it. You can use it to resonate with others. You can combine your power with others. And then that's when God gets in the mix. Like I said in previous live streams, this is not a Christian conversation. This is a spiritual conversation. But if you don't know that this aura exists, if you never discover that you have an aura that you need to appreciate and build a positive working relationship with, then what happens is that your life depends on how you treat your flesh. And coincidentally, we don't really learn how to treat our flesh. I remember when I was younger, the sodas that I used to drink, or back in Ohio, we call it pop, the Kool-Aid, juice, candy, all of the type, meat. And I still eat meat. I know that it's not a good thing, but I still eat meat. My next phase is to stop eating meat because I know it's wrong. But like I said in my last live stream, we have been possessed. That's the basis of this conversation today. And this is part of the conversation that I'm sharing with the community that leaders in the past have not shared with the community. This is one of the reasons why Cedric is important. This is one of the reasons why I keep doing live streams. And you might wonder, hey, Cedric, why you keep doing these live streams, man? It's because our people need to understand this and our people need to know this. It's not about continuing to start conversations that aren't going anywhere. I want to campaign to provide this understanding to as many people as I can until the day I die. Why? Because without understanding that you have an aura around you that you need to take care of and that you need to grow, you can never be the best potential of yourself. You can never be the fullest potential of yourself. You can never feel high of life. And the fact that we know it's there, let's get back to this graphic, okay? Because at the same time that you're this person right here, you also know that this aura here exists. So this is the reason why all of the sensations of goodness are in here. All the sensations of goodness are in here, okay? So let's say this is a sun, right? In the middle is you. From you to your aura is all of these different rays. All of these different rays. And it's ironic because as you go through your life, people raise you. Everybody pitches in and they raise you. But you yourself is comprised of infinite rays. The things that you say to yourself, the things that yourself communicates with you, they exist. So now this looks like an eye. So now this looks like an eye. And it's interesting because English is a play on words to some degree. But I won't dig too deep into that. But anyways, all the sensations of what feels good is inside of this biometric spectrum here. So in life, even though nobody's giving you credit for this aura, nobody is acting like your aura exists, whether you be in school, whether you be in a community, whether you be in the living room with your family. Nobody acts like, or nobody is discussing the fact that your aura exists. But it's the reason why our young people, they want to put on jewelry. They want to do things that are sensational. It's the reason why people like to drink. It's the reason why people like to smoke. It's the reason why people like to have sex. It's the reason why people get involved in things like religion and become very religious, admirably religious. It's because anything that provides a sensation that causes these rays to go back and forth, the feeling is excellent. The feeling is outstanding. This is why it's so cool to be a human being. All right? And we're going to go deeper in that in subsequent live streams. But anyway, in life, people don't want you to take a licking and keep on ticking. People want you to do what they think you should do with this flesh here. Now, like I said, this flesh here is in the middle of a patriarchy. In life, we have a military. You can never be tougher than the military. So what use is it for you to be violent? What use is it for you to be violent when you can never be tougher than the military? Okay? We have an affinity for violence. And we think a lot of the time, before we are enlightened and before we are influenced by people who have our best interest at heart, that violence is a manly thing. If you mistreat me or my family, I'm going to commit violence to you. I'm going to commit violence to you. All the time while we growing up in school, a lot of the time, we commit violence to one another. Or we look at somebody's person and we make fun of it. We transgress. This is what we do. We transgress. We treat people's flesh like it has no value. I know I'm starting off slow because there's a lot of groundwork that I need to lay in order to fast forward. Right? But we transgress. That's because we're not learning about the value of one's biometric spectrum. And at the same time that this is happening, your biometric spectrum, it has desires, it has wants, it has needs. It needs to be fed. This is one of the reasons why we have eating disorders amongst our people. Because this biometric spectrum, it needs to be affected constantly. A lot of the time, what we're doing is we're violating one another's biometric spectrums. The biometric spectrum, it needs to be made common sense. The biometric spectrum needs to be made common knowledge. And that's one of the reasons why the Pride Empowerment Network exists, is to raise awareness about your biometric spectrum, how it needs to be appreciated, taken care of, and upheld by the individual. Yeah, this is not going to be the drama-filled live stream. I know some people might be tuning in thinking, you know, Cedric about to be ranting and raving about life itself. No, that's not what this is about. This is about the higher understanding that I would like to provide to our community. Science has confirmed that the way that you're treated in life affects your genetic expression, rather. Science has confirmed that the way that you're treated in life affects your genetic expression. So you start off here, perfectly decent human being, and depending on what happens in your life, this biometric spectrum becomes something that you believe in or something that you don't believe in. So you either go one of two directions in life. I'm going to say that this is positive and this is negative. F, by happenstance, hook or crook, you come to know in your life that you have a valuable biometric spectrum, then you will gravitate to them because there's nothing greater to know. There's nothing greater to know than you're somebody, you're something, you're tangible, you're valuable beyond words. You're more valuable than you could ever know. Those types of people become stars, what we call stars. See, you're already a star in the first place. But we in the wacky world that we live in, it's something that you become. It's not something that you're already born with. I'm here to tell you that you're born a star. It's something that you're born with. You can come to know it or you can come to not know it. But now something very drastic happens to people who ignore their biometric spectrum and who are never made to know that it exists. They become violent. They become self-sabotaging. They become vindictive. I mean, you could go down and down the line. Okay? They become vindictive. They become jealous. They become envious. This is where all your damaged people are. This is where all your damaged people are right here. So now, you got these 4 quadrants in life. Everybody falls somewhere in these 4 quadrants. Either they're an ancestor or a historian. They remain in this realm. Some people, they know that they have a biometric spectrum. They remain in it. They love it. The people who stay here, these are the people that you call conceited or self-centered. We have all type of derogatory terms for people who just stay in this quadrant right here. The altruistic people, the ones who want to share with society, they take this biometric spectrum and they present it to the world out here. When you present it to the world out here, that's when people start calling you positive things, like a team player, like a leader, like a star. All of those different comments, they happen here. So you can become self-sabotage, you can become violent, or you can become what people call a star. Okay? And so, because we're not having conversations about the biometric spectrum, the fact that every single person has it, when your biometric spectrum goes, you go. When this goes, you die, you pass away. You have a set amount of time to figure out that you have this, to use it, to manifest it into more before you die. Right now, we got about 70, 80 years, 90 years on this earth before we die. That's just flesh alone. That's just flesh alone. The gift that we've been given of life is great, y'all. It's amazing. It's excellent. Because at any given time in your life, doesn't matter if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, or 90, if you discover that you have a biometric spectrum that you should be taking care of, it's going to add time, and it's going to add value, and it's going to add purpose, and it's going to reveal destiny in your life. All of us are here to some degree. Everybody's over here to some degree. Everybody's over here to some degree. Man, woman, child. It's over here to some degree. This is the world. See, I knew this would be an unpopular live because I'm talking about life itself. This is the world. You can't be anybody in this world without understanding that you have star power. Because the world is too impressive. Think about the world. We have oceans that'll take your breath away. We have mountains and pyramids that'll take your breath away. For the low frequency people, we got vehicles that'll take your breath away. We got jewelry that'll take your breath away. There's all type of entertainment events that you can go to that'll take your breath away. Everything is impressive. School is impressive. School is very impressive. And let's talk about school for a minute. One of the reasons why school is so impressive is because it encourages you and it puts you in a system of making mental. Kingsley, you're very welcome. School positions you to deal with hundreds, if not thousands, of mental connections that you need to make. It's a mental exercise. It's an infrastructure of connections that you need to make in order to become something new. What I'm saying to you is that you need to understand the mental infrastructure, the emotional infrastructure, the biometric infrastructure that you're born with. And families need to talk about that. Families need to talk about the biometric connections that you have and help you to discover yourself, help you to realize yourself. And I mean, a conversation about what you contain, the people that are in you, your ancestors, your traits. A conversation like that goes on and on and on and on is impressive. When you have your family members having a conversation like this with you, now let's just say you had 10 or 15 family members coming together to have conversations like this. Talk about each other. Talk about who we are, what we do, what we've done, what we can do. It would start to look like your family was a unit. It start to look like your family was itself a university. So now what's happening here is that we have people who have no knowledge of the biometric spectrum itself. So therefore, we're not expecting certain qualities from one another. And we just live in a fleshly life. In living a fleshly life, you have the influence of everybody and everything around you, and there's no guarantee that you'll ever become who you're supposed to be. No guarantee whatsoever. When you don't acknowledge that this biometric spectrum exists, it does things to you. It does things to make you notice it. Like they say, the universe will humble you. Things happen to you when you act like you don't have a biometric spectrum. When you know that you have a biometric spectrum, you respect the fact that you have a biometric spectrum, then you become inclined, made aware of your destiny, your purpose. You become aware of it once you understand that you have a biometric spectrum. The information that gets revealed to you is that which can take you to manifest your dreams, and it's that which is inside of your biometric spectrum, which has an affinity to the future. So people talk about laws of attraction. People talk about chasing your dreams. People talk about setting goals and then achieving them. Yet I meet people every day. They can't remember the last time that they had a dream. I talk to people every day. They don't know what their purpose is in life, and they don't know where to start. Pat O'Brien, how you doing? Okay. So what happens is that without imagery like this, without conversations like these, then we just go along not understanding that we have a biometric spectrum, that it needs to be treated an entire host of ways in order for us to transform our lives into what we want to see it become. There is no collective. There's no collective. There's no us. There's no us. There's no us. We live in a world where you look around and you think everybody sees the world the way that you do. No, nobody sees the world the way that you do, except for you. Every now and then, a special person shares a philosophy that other people can resonate with, and then they form a group. Groups are special. Groups are gifts to humanity. But everybody's not fortunate enough to be in a group because we don't have enough conversations like these. But this is where I come in at. This is where the Proud Empowerment Network comes in at. And by the time I leave this earth, awareness will be raised that everybody's born with a biometric spectrum that they need to appreciate, treat correctly, and then you need to share what's inside your biometric spectrum with the person next to you. You can't do that if you lose your life because you become a negative person. Well, let me not say negative. I have a different appropriation for that word, which I'm gonna get into. If you decide to make bad decisions in your life, you can have a bad outcome without ever getting to know yourself, this biometric spectrum, because you're just being this right here, and other people never get the benefit of this, and that's what we're going through right now as a community. I know this is not gonna be a popular live stream because I'm not talking about what everybody's talking about. And yet this is one of the things that we need to be talking about. So I'm encouraging it in my family. I'm encouraging it in our communities. But what's happening here is that because we never discovered this and gained an affinity for it, then we end up just losing our lives. And whatever way you want to name, people lose their lives without ever growing a relationship with this. And what happens is that people develop an abusive relationship with themselves. Think about it. Have you ever been in an abusive relationship with yourself? Now, this biometric spectrum, it has properties. If you touch it, it will touch you back. If you speak to it, it will speak back to you. If you believe in it, it will believe back in you. That's what it means to have a biometric spectrum. So now, if you don't treat it like nothing, you don't interact with it at all, it's still going to do something to you. It's going to bring you back to yourself. So now this brings me back to the point I made earlier about the way that people are treated. It affects the way that their DNA is expressed. It's because that which is done to you, you're going to grow up and manifest it onto the world in one way or another. What is done to you will be done to the world in one way or another. Now, if something happens to you that's not a good thing, and you synthesize it and you process it here, and you turn it into something positive, which will, bring it to here, then that's great. That's excellent. That's awesome. But most people don't do that. And what happens is that it eats at you. Oh, for people who are just now tuning in, let me redraw this. Y'all give me 1 second. Because I have a habit of, when I'm drawing this paradigm, going too far, eventually there's too much going on and you can no longer understand what I was talking about. So I notice we got some people who just tuned in. Let me reestablish this here. Right? Motivate Foster Kids is coming out probably within the next 30 to 35 days. The product that we will be providing, one of the products that we will be providing is called Seminar Soundtrack. Seminar Soundtrack is a tool that high volume agencies can use to motivate and inspire hundreds, thousands, or dozens of young people and adolescents to understand that they have a biometric spectrum and that it needs to be appreciated, it needs to be seen, and it needs to be expressed. A big part of life is expression. How much do you express? Because if you don't express anything, then you will be all the other S words. You'll be stressed. You'll be oppressed. You'll be depressed. Because of your lack of expression. Because of your lack of willingness to express yourself. Because of your lack of willingness to express yourself, you'll be all the other S words. You'll be stressed, depressed, and oppressed. Now, like I said, you are an amazing expression. You are an amazing expression that happened when your mother and your father came together and made you. They expressed themselves to one another and they made you. This is your mother's star. This is your father's star. And then that became you. This is you. This is the star that you are. Just like this. Okay? Now, what happens is that there are more mental and emotional and social cycle connections inside of this sun here than you could ever imagine. But when you're born, you're just a regular person. You appear to be a regular person. And what happens is that we don't have conversations about the fact that you have a biometric spectrum. We don't have conversations about the fact that this biometric spectrum has riches and values and principles in it that are in you that you need to express. We don't encourage one another to express ourselves. And what happens is that a lot of us end up in an abusive relationship with ourselves. That's what happens. We end up in abusive relationships with ourselves. We end up abusing things around us. Okay? Now, if, like I said, by happenstance or by the choices that you make in life, you become over here what people call a star, right? Because what we're doing is we're making stars manually. That's how amazing people are. We're making stars manually. We're going out here in this world. These are the buildings. This is the society that we're going out into right here. This is how dope we are. This is how amazing we are. We going out into society and we saying, I'm going to make myself a star. We making ourselves into that which we already are. We're doing double the work. This is how amazing we are. We're doing double the work. We going out here and we making ourselves, we putting so much work into letting people know how much value that we add to the point where people call you a star. But see, not everybody expresses themselves to the point where other people call them a star. And that's what's funny about life is that just because other people call you a star does not mean that everybody else is not. And one of the reasons why we violate one another so much is because it's a situation where you say, this person is getting more value. This person is being appraised at a higher value than I think people are appraising me at. I'm here to tell you that everybody's value is incalculable. What books are available regarding this information? Pretty much every self-help book is telling you this in a different way. I'm putting it in terms that the universe gave me, because I came to this realization by saying success is a choice. I started saying success is a choice, and then I had to figure out why was success is a choice and how and what Cedric, what are you really talking about? Put more sentences to that. Put more to that. You just can't walk around saying success is a choice. Mr. Reader, you can start. I mean, you asked for a book, so let me keep it there. You could start with the one ringer is that you can start with the Bible, because the Bible tells you in so many words how you are innumerably valuable. But there are a host of other books that can do the same for you. My perspective is a little bit different. Every single thing that I read, it pertains to this. Every single thing that I watch, it pertains to this. Rich Dad, Poor Dad pertains to this. More specifically, Mr. Rita, there are people that you can listen to who expound on topics that directly relate to this. People like Dr. Jewel Pookrum. If you want to look up Dr. Jewel Pookrum, I think she's a good one to start with. Dr. Jewel Pookrum. Queen Afua is another person who exists who speaks about this that I think will be a good person to know about what she's talking about in the world. Okay, so back to this. Your vision occurs in here. When you look up the way that the eyeball works, vision happens inside of your head. Okay? I already knew this wasn't going to be a popular live stream because I'm dealing with life itself and knowledge itself. Everybody thinks that they have it, but not enough people are having an effective conversation with the world around them that will allow us to go into a year like 2020 really being the best that we could possibly be. Everybody's vision occurs inside of their head. But we don't think that our vision occurs inside of our head. We think that we look out and we see the world around us and everybody's operating in what we call the world, what we call society. When in fact, there is no collective. I've been in barbershops where you get into conversations and people say, oh, our people, our people, our people. There's no such thing as our people. There's no such thing as us, we. Look at your own family. Not everybody's family, but a lot of people's families are not unified. Families are not cohesive. It's because we don't know why we're supposed to be. We don't know why we're supposed to be. You're supposed to be cohesive because when you put your biometric spectrums together, then you become more attractive. You become more powerful. You become more impressive. You become more capable of making a difference in your community. Okay? But that was the point of this live stream tonight. This is the beginning of it. All right? Like I'm saying, your vision, it occurs inside your head. Life is dangerous because people don't know that. So people don't know that everything that you want to do in life is right there inside of your being waiting to come out. It's not in these buildings out here. It's not out there in the world. You know, our young women, they go out there in the world, they looking for something. They looking for the value that exists inside of them. Our young men, they go out into the world, they looking for something. They looking for the value that exists inside of them. Our men and our women, our leaders, are out here in the world looking for things that are inside of them. So I'm here tonight to tell you, family, that you have a biometric spectrum, which is this here, which came from your mother and your father. This biometric spectrum consists of your light energy, which breaks down into colors. And the fact is, in order for you to treat yourself correctly, in order for you to identify yourself, you have to treat your energy right. Now, like I said, energy breaks down into the color spectrum. So you want to be simple, you want to be mundane about it. Here, let me do this. Yeah. So you want to be more direct, and you want to be more specific on what am I talking about. I'm getting ready to break it down for you right here, right now. All right. I'm gonna wrap this up. I know everybody, you guys got more important things to do with your Friday night. Okay. But now, so this is you. This is your biometric spectrum. This power here, it breaks down into colors. Red, this is the order that I created. Red, yellow, blue, orange, brown, green, purple, gold. And this is the black space of your mind here. This is the black space of your mind here. This is the black space of your mind here. Because like I said a few minutes ago, your vision occurs inside of your head. And when you close your eyes, that black space is the place where all of your inner workings exist. And it's those inner workings that are your destiny, that are the keys to life that your ancestors invested in you when they became somebody back in the day and then died, but they made your parents. That's one thing that's also very important today. Look, they say there's nothing new under the sun. In our blood is everything that our people ever were. You have access to it. You have access to it if you know that you have a biometric spectrum that you need to have a relationship with. Because your biometric spectrum is greater than you. It's always greater than you. It's been greater than you, and it always will be greater than you. And it's a god darn shame if you pass away without ever expressing what's inside your biometric spectrum. Now, in order to get this biometric spectrum to come to life, first, it's imagery like what I'm providing. Cedric provided this for you. Is you need to take care of your red frequency. Because light breaks down into colors. Light breaks down into colors. When light refracts, say it's raining outside and then the sun comes out after the rain and you see the rainbow, you have the properties of those colors in you. All right? So your red, it has to be positively impacted. What are you doing for your red? See, this is why what I'm saying is valuable, guys. What are you doing for your red? Most people, they're not doing nothing for their red. Are you eating strawberries? Are you eating cherries? Have you assigned a property to the red frequency that you possess? What are you doing for your yellow? Are you eating bananas? Are you eating lemons? Have you assigned a property or a principle to your yellow frequency? For me, that property is confidence. For your blue, are you eating blueberries? Are you eating cabbage of the blue and purple kind? Have you assigned a life principle and a value to the color blue? For me, blue represents goals. I'm sorry, y'all. This wasn't the entertainment live stream today. And like I said, I will be continuing to do this live series throughout the year before I move on to my next project. But orange. Have you eaten an orange lately? Have you eaten pumpkin lately? Have you assigned a value or a principle to the color orange, your orange frequency? For me, orange represents teachers. For your brown frequency, have you eaten a kiwi? Have you eaten beans? Right? Have you eaten tamarind? What have you eaten? Have you eaten chocolate? Real, raw chocolate? What have you eaten that was brown that positively impacts your brown frequency? Have you identified a value for your brown frequency? For me, brown represents lessons. For your green, have you eaten a Granny Smith apple? Have you had some organic green grapes? Have you eaten mustard greens? Have you eaten kale? Have you eaten chlorophyll? Have you drank chlorophyll? Have you eaten chlorella? Did you eat kelp? Greens. Have you assigned a value, a principle to your green frequency? For me, green represents your experience in life. Purple. Have you eaten a purple carrot? Have you eaten a beet? Have you eaten a beet? Have you eaten an organic purple grape? Have you eaten an eggplant? What have you eaten that was healthy and that was purple to resonate with the purple frequency that you possess? Have you assigned a principle, a value to the frequency purple that you possess? In this paradigm, purple represents life. Have you eaten raw, natural, golden honey? Huh? Have you eaten a legume? Have you eaten the heart of a pineapple? What have you eaten? Manuka honey. Huh? What have you eaten that was gold, that would affect your gold frequency? Have you assigned a life principle or quality to the color gold? For me, for this paradigm, gold represents creation. It represents creativity. Now, black, this is your mind space. This is your mind space. Have you tried black seed oil? Have you tasted the darkest chocolate? Have you used bentonite clay? Have you used bentonite clay to cleanse your body? Okay? Have you assigned a life principle of value to the color black? In this paradigm, we're establishing that black is not a color. Black is the state of containment of all of the frequencies of your biometric spectrum. So we were told growing up that black is nothing, black is dirty, black is evil, black is bad. But when you get into higher realms, black represents profit. Black represents increase. Black represents value. Anytime anytime the all black, black on black, triple black version of something comes out, it's high quality, it's top of the line. But without digging deeper, you won't ever come to the conclusion that your black space is the same intrinsic value that people have an extrinsic value on. You're a prophet. You're a prophet. All of the frequencies of the earth itself are in you. This is called the apparent paradigm. This is called the apparent paradigm. All right? This is where your drive will come from if you know it's there. This is what will be your vehicle if you know it's there to take you to wherever you're trying to go in your life. So this is going to propel you through the world. This It's going to propel you through the world. Not just you, your body, your flesh. That can only take you so far. So, like I've said, it's not about how big you are, how small you are, how cute you think you are, how ugly you think you are, what you have, what you don't have. None of that's relevant. It's about the capacity that you were born with, which you certainly have, propelling you and driving you to be that which you want to be. So now this is your heart. This is where your eyeball is at, and this is the world. Okay? This is the negative, this is the positive. All right? A lot more information that we're going to get into in further live streams. I got a lot more where this came from, y'all. This did not come out of a book. These are a few of the mental connections that I made in my journey of overcoming the things that were placed before me, the challenges that I placed before myself in order to get to the root of my real self, because I knew it was something great in there. And nobody can hand you a great life. Nobody or nothing can hand you a great life. You unveil a great life when you get to the core of who you are. And if you never get to the core of who you are, you're doing yourself the ultimate disservice. Effective media will help us to see that you have a very valuable core inside. All right. If this made sense, like, subscribe, look out for further videos, comment, drop a comment. If you didn't understand, drop a comment. I will be moving to YouTube soon. And this is just a start, y'all. So, let's go on this journey together. This is the left. This is the right. Now we're talking about the duality of life. This becomes your mom's side. This becomes your dad's side. This becomes your intuition. This becomes the things that you do in the world, which requires tuition. Nope. This is your driving force. You don't need to drive. You don't need to find drive. You need to locate your inner self. All right. I love y'all. Peace.